So, Professor Bouden, do you agree here? I mean, what kind of broader implications for the international law do we see when a major power like the US takes these stances, these confrontational stances? Does this prove that international law has a lot of holes in it and that the powerful basically rule and there may necessarily be a breakdown when it comes to the international law, especially if it has to do with the powerful?
Well, there is in international law, there is only one standard. And this is the ground of international law. This is the foundation. These are the basis of international law. There is no double standard. There is one standard. And this standard is applicable for everybody. Where is the problem? The problem is that some countries, they wanted to extract themselves or their allies from the application of international law. And by doing that, this is a breach of international law by itself. Now, this is the law as it is. But in practical terms, this can happen. But if this can happen now, and this can be a victory now for Netanyahu to travel to Hungary or to other countries, and he's not arrested, and international law is not made applicable against him, it doesn't mean this will remain forever. So the major point is not to abandon international law. These standards, these principles are the only protection that the weak...
But by design, sir, don't you agree that by design, that the way these international bodies have been created is to serve the powerful, as some countries have veto power, for instance, while others don't, and therefore are facing relative impunity when it comes to the application of an international law or sanctions or whatever it is.
They don't have, nobody has a veto on the International Court of Justice.
Not in the ICC, but for instance in the UN Security Council, we've seen time and again the US veto resolutions, for instance.
True, but this, we have to tackle it in a different way. Before the ICC, there is no veto. Before the International Criminal Court, there is no veto. So the problem is whether who can make these decisions applicable or not. The second point is to go to the to the UN Security Council, and here the five permanent members: the US, England, France, and China and Russia. They have a veto, but they have a veto for resolutions. They don't have a veto against the decision of the International Court of Justice or the International Criminal Court. So here, until now, that we have never seen a decision or a veto made before these high-level judicial body decisions. So we have to continue and try to do that. But here we have to find the way how to do it in a very appropriate way, so we can not have a reaction with a veto. And until now, the US cannot imagine even themselves making a veto against an International Court of Justice. It's not possible, because they will ruin their own system.
Yes.
And they will ruin the rule of law. And once again, if a state or a group of people or a person will go before a US court, they have very big chances to overturn or block these decisions against an international judicial body. And we have seen that there are a lot of decisions from the judiciary in the US. They have blocked decrees from President Trump or from other presidents. So the US is a country which is governed by the rule of law. So we have to go before the judiciary system, and the rights will be upheld.